Hello again. Now we are going to talk about phonetics, and this will be an introductory lecture. Phonetics is a branch of linguistics that studies how humans produce and perceive sounds. Okay, so we produce sounds and we also hear sounds, we understand sounds. Okay, so that is what we mean by perceiving sounds. So phonetics is the study of speech sounds in any language, and we are going to talk about the sounds of English. Now, before we proceed, we must know something about the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA, and why was it necessary? Okay. Now, there are two kinds of languages: phonetic languages and non-phonetic languages. Phonetic languages are those where the pronunciation of a word can be predicted from its spelling and vice versa. Okay, so looking at the spelling, you can predict how it will be pronounced. And looking at the or hearing the pronunciation, you can say what the spelling of the word would be. So there are certain languages which have this feature, and those languages are called phonetic languages. What are non-phonetic languages? Where the spelling and the pronunciation of a word are not necessarily connected. So they have less predictable spelling and pronunciation patterns. Okay. For example, Spanish is considered a phonetic language because each letter has a specific sound, and even the stress pattern in a word has rules. Now, what is the stress pattern? You will come to know in a while. Okay. So each letter has a specific sound, a corresponding sound, and how is the total word pronounced? That can also be predicted by the way the word is written. Okay, so you can see it written and know exactly how it is said. So Spanish is such a language. But English is not a phonetic language because a word in English is not spoken the same way that it is spelled. Okay. There is a difference, for example, in the pronunciation of the S sound in C and sugar, sir and sh. Okay, so the same S in these two words are pronounced differently. Now, if we have two words, heave and heaven, okay, we see that the vowels common in these words are EA, and those vowels are pronounced E in heave and A in heaven. Okay, then the consonants GH, for example, they are pronounced differently in the words laugh and ghost. Okay, laugh, GH has F sound, and ghost, GH has G sound. Okay, so we see that in English, you cannot predict the pronunciation from the spelling. Now, if you cannot predict the pronunciation from the spelling, then you need to have a particular system. Okay, a system of symbols which will tell you exactly how a word is pronounced, right? So if spelling is not sufficient, then you need something else, right? So the International Phonetic Alphabet was introduced for this purpose. It is an alphabetic system of phonetic notation based primarily on the Latin script. It was devised by the International Phonetic Association in the late 19th century as a standardized representation of speech sounds in written form. So you can write those symbols for every word and then you will know how the word will be correctly pronounced. So if you are new to a language, if you are new to the English language, then you can look at those symbols. If you study those symbols, if you know those symbols, then you can look at the symbols, the phonetic transcription, and you can see how a word is pronounced. Or if you are learning a new word, so you can learn the pronunciation of a new word looking at those symbols. And you will find these symbols in dictionaries. Okay, whenever you look up a word in a dictionary, apart from the meanings, you will also see that the dictionary provides pronunciation. Okay, now we come to articulation organs. Now, if we want to understand the system of speech sounds, then we need to understand the speech organs that we have. Okay, so those speech organs are also called articulation organs. Now, there is something called the vocal tract, which is important for us. What is the vocal tract? It is the passage where sounds are produced and filtered. Okay. So the vocal tract includes the oral and nasal cavities. It means the spaces within our mouth and nose. Nasal cavity, space in our nose, the cavity in our nose, right? And the cavity in our mouth is oral cavity. Then the pharynx or the upper throat and the larynx where the vocal cords are located. And vocal cords, these are very important for the production of sounds. You can look at the diagram. All these things are important. We have the nasal cavity, okay, and then we have the oral cavity. And then lips. Lips are very important for the production of sounds. Of course, teeth. And there is a kind of projection just behind the teeth, and that is called the alveolar ridge or the teeth ridge. Okay. Then you can see the tongue is divided into the tip and the front and the back. Okay. So all these portions of the tongue are important for the different sounds that are produced. Okay. Then we have the hard palate. There is something called the hard palate. Okay. It is just behind the, the teeth ridge, the alveolar ridge. Okay. After that, the hard palate begins. And towards the inner portion, we have the soft palate or the velum. All right. Now, the hard palate and the soft palate, they play an important role in the quality of sounds that are produced. And then we have the larynx, which, as I told you, contains the vocal folds, and the space within the vocal folds is called glottis. Okay. So if you have a general idea about the speech organs, then you will be able to understand the classification of sounds. When we give terms to different sounds, you will be able to understand it. Okay, so give me a minute. I need some water, and then I will get back to you. Okay. Now we will go to vowel sounds and consonant sounds. And here it is, very important to remember that vowel sounds and vowels are not the same. Consonant sounds and consonants are not the same. How many vowels do we have in the English alphabet? 5. A, E, I, O, U. But how many vowel sounds are there in English? There are 20 vowel sounds. How many consonants are there in English? 21. Okay. But how many consonant sounds are there? 24. All right. So 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds together make up 44 speech sounds in English. And we will learn about all these 44 sounds. Okay. So there is a difference between a vowel sound and a consonant sound. A vowel sound is a speech sound produced without any stricture in the vocal tract. Okay, stricture means some kind of restriction or obstacle. So vowel sound is such a sound where there is almost no obstacle in the vocal tract and air can flow freely. Okay, in the vocal tract. And what is a consonant sound? A consonant sound is a speech sound that is articulated with complete closure or partial closure of the vocal tract. So there is closure. All right. The closure may be complete or it may be partial, but there is closure in the vocal tract for a consonant sound. The only exception is ha sound, H, okay, which we denote with the symbol H. That sound is produced without any stricture, without any obstacle, and it is still a consonant sound. Okay. But all other consonant sounds, they are produced with complete or partial closure in the vocal tract. All right. Now, we will go to the next concept, that is voiced and voiceless sounds. So I told you that the vocal folds are important in the production of sounds. Okay. Now when the vocal folds are close to each other and they vibrate when there is passage of air, then the sound will be voiced. And if the vocal folds are away from each other and they do not vibrate, no vibration is produced while the passage of air happens, then that is what we call a voiceless sound. So voiced sound is associated with vibration of the vocal folds, and in a voiceless sound, there is no vibration of the vocal folds. That is the difference. Okay. A voiced sound is produced with the vibration of vocal folds in the larynx, and a voiceless sound is produced without the vibration of vocal folds. And it is important to remember that all the vowel sounds in English are voiced. Okay, that means vibrations happen during the production of vowel sounds. And if we look at the total number of consonant sounds in English, that is 24, we can see that 9 consonant sounds are voiceless. That means they are produced without vibration of the vocal folds, and the rest of the 15 sounds are voiced. Okay, so all vowels are voiced, 15 consonant sounds are voiced, and 9 consonant sounds are voiceless. Okay. Now, we will look at different terms given to the consonant sounds. Now, we are talking about consonant sounds first. Okay, we will talk about vowel sounds later. Now, we will talk about consonant sounds and we will give them names depending on where they are produced. That means the place of articulation and how they are produced. That means the manner of articulation. Okay. So first we will look at the terms for consonants depending upon the place of articulation. What are bilabial sounds? Sounds produced by bringing both lips together. The word labial is connected to lips, and that is why those sounds which we produce by bringing both lips together are called bilabial sounds. So, pat, bat. These are two sounds which we produce by bringing the lips together. Then, labiodental. So, I just mentioned these sounds as examples. There are more, and we will talk about all the sounds. Just at first, we should know about why these terms are given. So, the other term is labiodental. Labiodental. Lip, and the word dental is connected to teeth. So, lip and teeth. All right. So, sounds produced by placing the lower lip against the upper front teeth. Examples include fan, fan, van, and fan and van. Okay. These are labiodental sounds. Then dental sounds. which are produced by placing the tip or blade of the tongue against the upper teeth. Here no lips are involved, but only teeth. Okay. Examples include sir, thousand, thousand, and then these. Okay. So you see that the sound, the sound. All right. These are dental consonants. Okay. And you have specific symbols for them. This is how you should write the symbols for the sounds if you are asked questions on these terms in the examination. Okay. Then we have alveolar sounds which are produced by placing the tongue against the alveolar ridge. Remember the ridge. Okay. Alveolar ridge, the bony ridge behind the upper front teeth. Behind the upper front teeth, there is this bony ridge, very hard ridge. Okay. So that is what we call the alveolar ridge. So we pronounce t sound. When you say t sound, t, your tip of the tongue will touch the alveolar ridge. D sound. Top, dog. D, d. Okay. So t sound and d sound. These are examples of alveolar sound. Then we have a term palatoalveolar. I told you that behind the teeth ridge or the alveolar ridge begins the hard palate. Okay. So sounds produced by placing the tip of the tongue close to the alveolar ridge and the front of the tongue in a concave position to the roof of the mouth or the hard palate. Okay, roof of the mouth or the hard palate. They are called palatoalveolar sounds. So here we need the alveolar ridge and also the hard palate. Both these parts are required. So the tip of the tongue will be close to the alveolar ridge and the rest of the tongue will be in a concave position to the roof of the mouth, which we call the hard palate. Okay. So which are these sounds? Examples are sh, ship, sh, chair, chair, ch. Okay. So sh sound and sh sound. These are examples of palatoalveolar sounds. Then we have palatal sounds where we only use the hard palate, okay, the roof of the mouth. So sounds produced by placing the front of the tongue close to the hard palate. The only palatal sound in English is y. Y sound. Y. Okay. And y sound is represented by the letter J. Don't confuse this. This is not j sound. This is y sound. But the symbol is like J. Okay. Then that is palatal sound. Then what are velar sounds? Sounds produced by raising the back of the tongue to the soft palate. Okay, when we raise the back of the tongue towards the soft palate or velum. Velum is another name for soft palate. Okay, the back part of the roof of the mouth. So the roof of the mouth is the hard palate and the back portion of the roof of the mouth is the soft palate. You can see if you touch the soft palate with your tongue, you will understand why it is called the soft palate. Okay. Now, examples include k in kite and g in go. Okay, so sounds produced by raising the back of the tongue to the soft palate or velum, and hence these sounds are called velar sounds. Then we have glottal sounds, sounds which are produced by constricting the vocal cords. Okay, so there is no closure, but there is some pressure in the vocal, the tract, the vocal tract, and an example of that is her. But air is free flowing. Remember, I told you that her sound is the only sound where there is no complete closure. Okay, or there is no obstruction. The air flows freely, but then there is some kind of pressure on the vocal cords. Okay, so her, it is a consonant sound and it is a glottal sound. Now, we will go to the manner of articulation. how the sound is produced. The first term, plosives. What are plosives? These involve complete closure at some point in the mouth. There is complete closure, pressure builds up behind the closure, and when the air is suddenly released, a plosive is made. So it is called a plosive because there is a sort of explosion in the mouth while producing it. Okay. So examples include in pot, in dot. Okay, so you can see we are first blocking the air and then pressure builds up and then we release the air suddenly. So those sounds are called plosives. Then plosives are of two kinds, aspirated and non-aspirated plosives. Now what is aspiration? It is the release of a puff of air that accompanies the sound of certain consonants. So along with the sound produced, you will also release a puff of air, and that puff of air can be felt on your palm if you place your palm like this. Okay. So aspirated sounds are those that release a puff of air, and unaspirated sounds or non-aspirated sounds. Okay. They are those where no puff of air is released. Simple. Now, in English, the voiceless plosives in pot, time, care, all right, they are aspirated at the beginning of a syllable. So when these sounds are present at the beginning of a word, the beginner word, then these are aspirated or there is a puff of air going out. Okay. So pat, top, time, cat, cake. All right. So you can see a different quality to the first letters when they are pronounced. Okay. Now, when I say spin, stun, and skill or skunk, okay, here you don't have that kind of a quality because here p, t, and k. These sounds, they do not begin a word. They are found somewhere in the middle. So when they are in the middle, they will be unaspirated. No puff of air will be released. But when they are at the beginning of a word, a puff of air will be released and hence they are called aspirated. Okay. Now, we will come to the second kind of consonant sounds depending upon the manner of articulation. Fricatives. Fricatives, the word is connected to friction. All right. Now, these are the result of incomplete closure. Plosives included complete closure and fricatives, they include incomplete closure at some point in the mouth. The air escapes through a narrow channel with audible friction, friction that can be heard. All right. So because there is a very narrow channel which is open and the air passes through it, we can hear the friction. Zzz. Okay, so these are examples of fricatives. You can hear the friction of these sounds. Fan, f, zoo, z, z. Okay, so these are examples of fricatives. Now we come to affricates. Affricates, they are a combination of plosives and fricatives. Okay, so initially there is a complete closure as for a plosive, and then this is followed by a slow release, not a sudden release. Okay, remember this is the difference between plosives and affricates. In plosives there is closure and then pressure builds up and sudden release, but in affricates there is complete closure, but then there is a slow release of air. So because air is slowly released, there is again friction which we can hear. So these are a combination of sounds. Initially, there is complete closure as for a plosive. This is followed by a slow release with friction as for a fricative. Examples include sh in shop. Okay, ch sound, ch, chair, chaw, and j sound, gym, gem. Okay, that is j sound. And look at the symbols that we use for ch sound and j sound. All right. Now we have lateral sound. I've not written this in plural because there is only one lateral sound in English. This sound involves partial closure in the mouth. What happens? The air stream is blocked by the tip of the tongue but allowed to escape around the sides of the tongue. Okay, so air is blocked by the tip of the tongue, but the air escapes through the sides of the tongue. So, L sound, L, light. Okay, lamp. All right. So L sound is an example of lateral sound. Then nasals. What are nasals? These sounds involve the complete closure of mouth. Okay. So this also involves the complete closure of mouth. But then what happens? The velum or the back of the roof of the mouth, the soft palate, it is lowered. Okay. So the oral cavity is blocked. Now air cannot come to the oral cavity. So what happens? There is again another opening that is through the nose. So if air cannot go through the oral cavity because the soft palate blocks the passage, then air flows through the nasal cavity. So there is complete closure of mouth, but the air flows through the nasal cavity. Then that is what we call a nasal sound. So in English, there are three nasal sounds. M as in mat, N as in no, and ng, ng, the sound made by ng, ng. Okay, sing, sing. All right. So m, n, ng. All right. So these are three nasals. Then frictionless continuant. Again, we have just one frictionless continuant, and that is R sound. R. Okay, R, denoted by the letter R. In making the R sound associated with BBC English, the closure is made as for fricatives S and Z, but the air is released with less pressure. R, R, R. All right. So that is a frictionless continuant. Then we have semi-vowels. These are like vowels, but they are consonants. Okay. So the sounds that begin the words U and wet, which means Y sound and W sound. Y and W. U, wet, are made without closure in the mouth. There is no closure. To this extent, they are vowel-like, but they behave functionally like consonants, and hence they are called half vowels or semi vowels. They are not fully vowels, they are consonants, but they are like vowels, and that is why they are called semi vowels. All right. So these are the various terms for consonants depending upon the place and manner of articulation. Now, if you want to classify the consonants like this, okay, in such a table, you will be able to combine these terms together. And you can also say whether those sounds are voiced or voiceless. Now look at this table, and you will see the letters VL and VD. VL stands for voiceless sounds and VD stands for voiced sounds. Okay, so if you have such a table in mind, you will be able to describe a particular sound using the terms for place of articulation and the terms for manner of articulation, and saying whether they are voiced sounds or voiceless sounds. So for example, look at the sound P as in pat. Okay, P sound. So it is a plosive and it is a bilabial sound and it is voiceless. It is voiceless. And how can you test whether a sound is voiced or voiceless? When you pronounce it just place your fingers on your throat here like this. And when the sound will be voiceless, you will not feel any vibration. And when the sound is voiced, you will feel a vibration here. So there is no sound. Okay. See, don't say pa and say that there is a vibration, because you're combining the vowels on a, okay, along with. So it is actually voiceless. But when you say b, b, that means bat. Okay. The sound b, bat. Okay. B is a voiced sound. You get some vibration. All right. So this is just a simple test. Now we will see if, as in pat, is a voiceless, bilabial, plosive. All right. Then we come to fa sound. Fan. All right. Fa sound is voiceless, labiodental, fricative. All right, so this is how we describe sounds. Then sound k, cat, it is voiceless, velar, plosive. All right, so this is for your reference. We have two bilabial plosives, p and b. We have two alveolar plosives, t and d. We have two velar plosives, k and g. Then we have two labiodental fricatives, f and v. Then we have two dental fricatives, th and the. Then we have two alveolar fricatives, s and z. Okay. Then we have palato-alveolar fricatives, sh and j. All right. So, s and z is different from sh and j. So, see but ship. All right. S, sh. See, ship. All right. But we have z. Zoo, but measure. Measure. Zoo, measure. Okay. So these are fricatives, but different kinds of fricatives, alveolar and palato-alveolar fricatives. Then we have the glottal fricative ha sound. All right. Then we have palato-alveolar affricates, ch and j sounds. All right. Then we have the lateral sound, which is alveolar. So alveolar lateral, l sound. Then we have three nasals, bilabial nasal, m sound. Okay. And m is voiced. And then we have alveolar nasal, which is n sound. It is also voiced. All the nasals are voiced. Okay. Then we have that ng sound. Okay. Which is a velar nasal. It is also voiced. Okay. And remember the symbol of the velar nasal. Then we have the frictionless continuant R, which is actually called a post-alveolar sound. There is a specific term for the place of articulation of R. It is called post-alveolar. Okay. Then there are the two semi-vowels, bilabial semi-vowel, because we use both the lips, w. All right. And then palatal semi-vowel, because we use the hard palate, y. All right. Y sound represented by the letter, which is like J. Okay. So now, if you count the number of voiceless sounds and the number of voiced sounds here, you can know that there are 9 voiceless sounds and rest 15 sounds are voiced. Okay. So which are the voiceless sounds? S, ch. All these are voiceless sounds. And of course, you will not be able to hear it because they are voiceless. All right. So when we combine them with other vowels, when we combine them, then we are able to know the total word. Okay, but these are voiceless. Then which are the voiced sounds? B, m, v. All right. V, d, z, l, n. R. Okay. J, Z. Okay. Then G, Ng. All these are voiced sounds. All right. Then we will go to the next point, that is vowels. Now we come to vowels. All right. Now we will look at the classification of English vowels. Vowel sounds are divided into monophthongs and diphthongs. All right. So there are two terms to describe the vowel sound. Monophthongs and diphthongs. Monophthongs are also called pure vowels. Okay. In English, there are 12 monophthongs and 8 diphthongs. Look at the diagram on the screen while I discuss the specific terms which are very important for describing vowels, that is pure vowels. All right, monophthongs. These terms, they describe monophthongs. So first we will look at what a monophthong is. We will know the different terms which are essential for describing monophthongs, and then we will move on to diphthongs. A monophthong is a vowel sound in which the tongue stays in one position. That is a simple definition. Then we have three terms: front vowel, central vowel, back vowel. Okay. So now we will use all these terms which we will discuss for describing the 12 monophthongs. There are 12 monophthongs and 8 diphthongs in English out of the 20 vowels, 20 vowel sounds. Okay. All right. So what is a front vowel? You look at the diagram while I tell you the definition of these terms. A front vowel is produced with forward shifting of the tongue from its neutral or rest position. So when the tongue moves forward, then we call it a front vowel. When the tongue is in its rest position, neutral position, we call that a central vowel. And when the tongue moves backward from the neutral position, then we call it a back vowel. Okay. Now, remember the other terms as well, open and close. And then between open and close, we have different positions, half open, half close, half open, half close. Okay, for back as well as front vowels. Just remember, so we will understand what do we mean by open and closed vowels. An open vowel is pronounced with the tongue in the lower part of the mouth. So tongue will be in the lower part of the mouth. All right, in its lowest possible position, thus expanding the oral cavity to produce the vowel sound. What is a closed vowel? It is pronounced without the need for a great breadth of the oral cavity. That means the oral cavity will not have a great breadth, which means that, the tongue will be close to somewhere, the upper part of the mouth. Okay. So tongue will be in a higher position. All right. Without turning the sound into friction. See, it will not be so high that it will produce friction. If it produces friction, that means we will have fricatives, consonants. Okay. But, the tongue will be in a raised position, in a closed vowel. All right. Just understand this, that for an open vowel, the tongue will be in the lowest possible position. And for a closed vowel, the tongue will be in a higher position in the mouth. But it not so high that it will be close to the hard palate or to the teeth ridge and produce friction. No. Then that will become a consonant. Okay. Now, what is a rounded vowel and an unrounded vowel? It depends upon the position of your lips when you are pronouncing a particular vowel. So when a rounded vowel is pronounced, the lips form a circular opening. Ooh, ooh, ooh sound. Okay, so the lips form a circular opening. And then unrounded vowels are produced with the lips relaxed. E sound. E. So lips are relaxed. E. A. All right. Now, a vowel sound can be short or long. There are short vowels and then there are long vowels. The difference between them is in the duration of their pronunciation. Short vowels are produced with a shorter sound, while long vowels have a longer sound. All right. Now, we will go to diphthongs. So now we have completed the description of monophthongs. We will move on to diphthongs or glides, which move from one vowel sound to another, and that is considered to be one unit of sound. Okay. So a diphthong is a vowel sound in which the tongue changes position to produce the sound of two vowels, but it is taken as a combined unit. Okay. It is also called a glide. Okay. Glide refers to that movement, shift in position of the tongue. So we said that there are 8 diphthongs in English. So out of those 8, 3 diphthongs glide towards E sound: A, Oi, I. Okay. Day, oil, then right. Okay. So they move towards E sound. Then there are 2 diphthongs which glide towards U sound: ow and ow, cow. All right. Then we have go, go. All right. And cow. They are different. Ow and ow. All right. So they move towards U sound. Then there are 3 diphthongs which glide towards a sound. All right. Then we have ear, u, air. All right. Ear, u, air. All right. So we have a word like come here, here, ear. Right? Come here, here, ear, ear sound. Then he is poor, poor. He's poor, poor. Right? Poor sound. Then I don't care, care, air, air sound. Right? So we have 3 diphthongs which glide towards a sound. Now, okay. So now we will see all the vowel sounds together. Just like we saw all the consonant sounds together in that table, we will look at all the vowel sounds. So first we have short vowel sounds. The first symbol, which is E, all right, it has this sound, A. Went, intend, dead, bed. Okay. Then we have the second symbol, which represents the vowel sounds in these words: top, off, cloth, or sound. Okay. So it is represented by this symbol. Then we have an inverted E, which is a short sound, which is not very prominent. You can hardly hear it in these words: about, alone, arise, taken. Okay. Then we have the E sound, short E sound, which is written with a capital letter E, but in a smaller size. It, give, enough, become. Okay. Then we have U sound, short U sound. Push, look, took. Okay. U sound. Then we have A sound, cup, and it is shown with an inverted V. Okay. Cup, money, fun, London. All right. Then we have A sound in these words: mat, have, sad, bad. Okay. And you see that the symbol is made with a combination of the letters A and E. Okay. So these are all short sounds. Then we have long vowel sounds. Look at the vowel sound in these words: law, daughter, talk, all. So my lips are further rounded. Okay. More rounded than when I say top of cloth. Right? Now my lips are more rounded. Law, daughter, talk, all. Okay, so that symbol represents the sound, the first long vowel that I'm talking about. Then E sound, each, long E. Okay, each, see, be, people. Okay, now we have a sound, long a sound. Look at these words: bird, shirt, hurt, mirth, right? A, bird, shirt, hurt, mirth. Okay, then long oo sound: who, food, you, through. All right, long oo sound. Then ah sound, ah. Car, father, hard, bath. Okay, now these are all monophthongs. All right, now we will go to diphthongs or glide vowels. A. Okay, space. Okay, give me some space. Rain, they. Okay, then ear, beer, here, near. Then poor, poor, tour, cruel, cruel. Okay, then oi, noise, joy, employ. Okay, then air, hair, care, there. Okay, then I, my, flight, dice. Then oh, no, vote, don't go. Okay, then ow, out, cow, mouth. Okay, so now we have seen the symbols and the corresponding sounds of all the vowels. Okay, now we will go back to that diagram and we will try to describe each vowel sound using these terms. So now the long E sound is front, close, unrounded in C or T. Then the short E sound is front, unrounded vowel between close and half close. Ink, pill. Okay. Then A sound, front, unrounded vowel between half close and half open. End, trend. So while I read this, you look at the diagram. Okay. Then A sound, front, unrounded vowel just below the half open position. And man. Then A, back, open, unrounded, ask. Okay. Then aw sound, back, open, rounded, off, lot. Okay. Then o sound, back, rounded vowel between half close and half open, all, tall. Okay. Then oo sound, short oo, back, rounded vowel between close and half close, put. Okay. Then long oo sound, back, close, rounded vowel, fool, stoop. Okay. Then a sound, central, unrounded vowel between open and half open. Okay. Up, gun. Then we have a sound, long a sound, central, unrounded vowel between half closed and half open, earth, yearn. Okay. Then we have short a sound. Okay, little a sound, which is central, unrounded vowel between half closed and half open, alike, about, ago. Okay, so we have described all these monophthongs. All right, now we will just look at these diagrams again, just to keep those symbols in your mind regarding glides, about to which direction they move. A, I, and O. They move towards the E sound, then O, ow. Move towards the oo sound. And then we have ear, air, oo. We move towards the short sound. Okay, so these are glides. Now, I think your concept of consonant sounds and vowel sounds will be clearer. Now we will look at the last concept here, which is important for you. Minimal pairs. What are minimal pairs? Minimal pairs are pairs of words that differ in a single phoneme. Phoneme is another word for a speech sound. Okay. So in a, when two words, they differ only in one speech sound, then they can be called minimal pairs. The rest of the sounds are the same and there will be only one sound where they will differ. They are used in phonetics to demonstrate the difference between two sounds. Here are some examples of minimal pairs. Soil, boil. So oil, that sound is the same. S sound and B sound. These are the different sounds. So soil and boil, we can call them minimal pairs. Similarly, save, safe. Okay. So V and P. These are the two sounds which are different. Then bat, bet, bat, bet. Okay. So here A and A. These are the two vowel sounds which are different. The consonant sounds are same. Then ship and sheep. So short E and long E. Ship and sheep. Okay. So rest of the sounds are same. That is the only difference. Then but and bird. But, bird. Okay. So the consonant sounds are same. The vowel sounds are different. A sound and long sound. Okay. But, bird. Okay. So these are what we call minimal pairs. So I think this is enough for your examination. If you revise properly, you will be able to remember the terms and you will be able to do well. Thank you.